Hello, everyone. Happy voting day. Today, the world is watching. What's going to happen?
It's all coming down to this. Hopefully, we'll know tonight.
Scott, tell us about the shenanigans you heard coming in.
Yeah, so I heard on the radio, Brian Kilmeade's show on Fox News radio, that they're having some issues with some polls, some polling in or voting places in Pennsylvania, where some guys were going into work or going to vote before they got to work, and were told they had to come back. They were having some problems with the machines, and I mean that's crazy. They couldn't get all this stuff ironed out before, and of course that's such a controversial state, right? That's one of the
swing states. Yeah, because it's like, it's a close razor thin. That's why it's a swing state.
Yeah,
it's like 50-50.
I mean, I read an article today that they're saying that Trump's in trouble on all the swing states, but I don't believe.
I don't believe it either.
Reporting. I mean, if anything, it's a toss-up. So,
well, we were talking that city in New Hampshire that the 6 citizens voted at midnight. They've been doing it since the 50s, and it went 3-3. And I'm still shocked that it went 3-3. But in 2020, it was 4 Biden, 2 Trump. So they made progress. I mean, with their message. But I still can't believe that 3 people would say, well, we want this inflation. We want this high gas. We want,
I would love to hear what
migrants.
People's reasoning is behind the fact that they just don't like Donald Trump.
But that's it. They just don't like Donald
Trump. That's crazy. This is not high school ASP
popularity,
or class
king
officers.
Of the prom. No.
Yeah, no, this is not that stuff.
This is real world. This is pocketbook. Your pocketbook, man.
Yeah. And safety, security of the country, these people despise the military, and they, peace by strength. We need a strong military, right? I mean, that's what Trump did before. That's strength, what right? Reagan did. I mean, it was, I don't know. Hopefully it'll turn out.
Want to give a shout out to Ben L from the UK. We heard from him yesterday. He's alive and well. And Ben, we want more comments from you, man. Where have you been, Ben?
Yeah.
Anyways, recently,
good to have you back.
Yeah. Recently, the world was shocked by the information that North Korea sent thousands of its military personnel to Russia. Ukrainian intelligence reports that their number may reach more than 10,000. The Financial Times noted that some North Korean soldiers are already in the Kursk region of Russia. We've reported on this.
Yeah.
About 50 kilometers from the border with Ukraine, and we've reported that some are trying to defect. In response, South Korea announced the possibility of increasing military support for Ukraine. Seoul also emphasized that the DPRK, North Korea, has requested Russian technologies related to technical nuclear weapons. Uh-oh. Lucy, you got some explaining to do.
Yeah. What are we doing there?
But this is not unprecedented because North Korean pilots aided North Vietnam during the 60s. So it's not unprecedented.
Okay, so South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol's administration is even more empathetic about the risks of Russian DPRK military ties, calling it both unacceptable and illegal given to the multiple United Nations Security Council resolutions prohibiting such activity, regardless of the treaty the two countries signed in June. On October 21st, the South Korean Foreign Ministry summoned the Russia ambassador in Seoul and demanded an immediate withdrawal of North Korean troops. A day later, the Yoon administration threatened to provide Ukraine with direct military assistance if military cooperation between Moscow and Pyongyang continued. A countermeasure Yoon reiterated personally this week. Yeah, such a course of action, however, is easier said than done for South Korea, which is barred by law from exporting lethal weapons to a country at war.
That's a tricky.
Yeah, that's a fine line, right? A clever workaround would be to ship the weapons to a third party who would then transfer them to Ukraine. So,
yeah, that would be one way of getting around it. Details have now emerged of the military pact between Russia and the DPRK, and this is the meat of our segment today. We just gave you a little background. The agreement between the DPRK and Russia to send North Korean troops provides for bilateral benefits. Russia's got a meat grinder, 600,000 dead, so they need, fodder, right? Russia allegedly pledged to pay high salaries to the military. reports the Korean Herald. Korean member of parliament Wee Sung-luk, who was Seoul's ambassador to Russia, said in a commentary to the Korean Herald that joining the war against Ukraine was not a bad deal at all for North Korea. According to him, the financial and food crises in the DPRK are largely resolved thanks to Russian compensation for its contribution to the military effort against Ukraine. It begs the question, is Ukraine now at war with DPRK since troops are fighting there?
Yeah, and is that true, though? I mean, just because they're going to be getting compensated and getting some provisions, is that really going to benefit the people of North Korea? I don't know. I mean,
if they get the actual benefits,
I
guess the families of the soldiers going, they'll get some cred and prestige.
We'll see how
they might
Kim
get extra
takes
food.
care of that.
They might get extra food.
Yeah, we'll see. According to South Korean intelligence, in exchange for the North Korean military, Russia has pledged to supply 600 to 700,000 tons of rice per year to the DPRK, which
That's a lot of rice.
It's a lot of rice, but you think that I mean, that's got to be one of their staples.
Yeah.
Why aren't they producing that? I mean,
the people are starving. I mean, when you bankroll everything into the military to keep the peasants down.
Yeah, or whatever the ruler of that country is using. So
they're
going to pay $2,000 annual salaries to North Korean soldiers involved in the war against Ukraine.
Golly, but privates that's like 2 months' wages for a United States private.
That's a year. So
I know for the North Korean. Yeah.
And also to share their space technology. Moreover, the countries agreed to involve Russia in combat operations on the Korean Peninsula in the event of war.
That's the big one right there.
That is a big one. Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
So y'all know currently the U.S. conducts war games with South Korea on the Korean Peninsula. It seems reasonable that if Russia is to help the DPRK with combat on the peninsula, then Russia will need to conduct exercises with the DPRK on the Korean Peninsula. And here's what the DPRK gets from the Russian pact.
Yeah.
So,
any North Korean troops sent to fight in Ukraine will acquire the kind of battlefield experience that the Korean People's Army, KPA, currently lacks. That's if they survive. This should not be understated. The last time the KPA fought a large-scale conventional conflict was in the 1950 to 1953 Korean War. I mean, training is one thing, combat is another, right? And it's leadership that wins in combat, focusing those troops to get them in the right place and delegating down to the smallest unit for us. I mean, the NCO.
Right. It's one thing to do war games in, the great part of the year, right? But it gets cold in Korea.
Oh, yeah.
And it snows and it's freezing. And
yeah.
So, those kind of things all play into that, I think. So, anyway.
The Kim regime has devoted a significant portion of its annual gross domestic products to its military and weapons of mass destruction programs in the 7 decades since, but remains grossly underfunded and under-equipped on the key defense platforms, which are fighter and bomber aircraft, air defense systems, and logistics infrastructure, to name a few. So they're throwing all the money at tanks and guns and artillery, but nothing, for these key, systems.
And where are they getting this money? Is it being subsidized by China and now soon to be Russia? I mean,
whoever they can sell whatever they can sell to. Yeah. That's what they do. They sell weapons. They mass produce some guns, whatever. And these are just a few required to wage a successful military campaign, the ones that I listed. One of the primary reasons why the Kim regime spends so lavishly on its nuclear missile program is because the KPA's conventional capability is qualitatively inferior to its adversaries. Assisting the Russians in Ukraine can provide the KPA with the institutional knowledge of what systems, tactics, and procedures are needed for modern-day warfare.
Gotcha. So the Kim regime wants Russia in its corner. Moscow's support is a geopolitical coup for Pyongyang, granting North Korea more flexibility and freedom of maneuver in relation to its dealings with the United States and China alike. Comfortable that it can rely on Moscow's support, North Korea is even less worried about additional economic sanctions today than it normally is.
Yeah. Because it's got a big partner.
Yeah. So more specifically, Pyongyang is likely receiving technology it has long coveted to develop its military satellite program, a core component of Kim's defense modernization plans. And as the relations with Russia strengthen, Kim reduces the vulnerability that comes with independence on China, a country whose own relationship with North Korea goes from periods of romance and frostiness.
Love and hate and stuff.
Yeah.
So think about this. Trump stepped foot into North Korea, not as buddies with Kim, according to every Democrat and corporate media who has an opinion on this, but to keep his enemy close.
Right.
And the DPRK was negotiating with the United States, with Trump, for nuclear disarmament on the peninsula. They were doing this. Now the situation is a nightmare. It is a nightmare, worsened by the Biden-Harris Idiocracy. How can it get worse? You wonder that, right? If Harris is elected today, it most certainly will grow exponentially worse. It's an idiocracy. They think they're elites, that they know better than us, but
just listen to them.
Oh my gosh.
Just listen to what they say. And it is just word salad. Oh my gosh.
This is more chilling than hyperinflation from crushing debt or millions of illegals crossing the border. Our children and grandchildren may be forced to learn Russian and Korean.
Not good.
Vote them out.
Yeah. Vote the right way today, please.
The reason why we don't speak Japanese and we don't speak
German
with an English accent, or we don't speak German, is because of veterans who fought and died for our freedom.
Yeah.
If we don't want this to happen, we got to get the dummies out of office.
Yeah. Ask somebody in the military that's been in there for a while. Is it better today than it was 8 years ago, 12 years ago, 16 years ago, 20 years ago?
You bring up a good point. I mean, Obama came in 2009. It's been a whole generation that have been entrenched into. I was listening to Newt Gingrich, the Gungan, about like the DOJ and all the government, the deep state. They've had a whole generation to get like-minded people in there. Democrat.
Yeah, diversity.
With only 4 years of a break with Trump.
Right. Yeah. No, it's. I'm telling you. Strength, peace by strength, man. We need it.
Yeah,
we need strength. We don't need people just going around and I hear all these people that are endorsing the Harris Waltz ticket, and you look at all these people, and they are what I would consider to be the elites, right?
Yeah, Hollywood elites, and
so
billionaires.
Their life's not going to change much.
Beyonce,
right? I mean, Dick Van Dyke this morning,
he did.
He endorsed, Waltz, or Harris Waltz. So, I don't get it, but they're kind of cushioned, but
definitely cushioned.
And
I would feel bad if Trump lost because we didn't make an endorsement, Scott.
Well, I think we just did, right?
Trump. Backyard Musing.
Trump, yeah. Trump
fully endorses Trump.
Trump Vance.
Trump
Vance, and then not jumping the gun, but Vance in 2028.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. Let's not count our chickens. Let's get his feet wet and get him diplomatically, savvy.
Yeah. But I think it'll be good.
All right, folks. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah. Take care. Have a good night, and vote.